Welcome to the Grand Budapest Hotel, home to one of the most respected concierges in the world. Rich and decadent decor, and a guest list of some of the wealthiest and most mysterious figures in Eastern Europe. Although in the post-war downturn it might not look like much, these walls have stories to tell. The Grand Budapest Hotel is one of those rare, experiential movies that I was not quite expecting to enjoy in the way that I did. I mean, Wes Anderson completely outdoes himself compositionally in this film. The mix of symmetry, miniature models, matte paintings, it just completely blew my mind the first time I saw this film. It is, honest to God, one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever seen. Apart from the warm and quirky characters.
We never got the cause of death. She's been murdered. And you think I did it.
The whimsical plot and the insertion of comedy at all the right moments.
She was dynamite in the sack, by the way.
She was 84, Mr. Gustav.
This film, it kind of stands separate in my mind. In one part of my brain, I've got, all the films I've ever watched and the filmic norms they follow, the cinematography, the music, the acting, the composition. And then the Grand Budapest Hotel just it just sits completely separate to them. I can't quite explain the way I feel about this film. It is absolutely beautiful, and quite frankly, it really kind of changed the way in which that I consider films as art pieces. Wes Anderson's composition and his choice of music as well, the score in this film is absolutely phenomenal. But, sorry, anyway, as you can probably tell, I rather like this film. So I thought that I would make a cocktail in honour of it. Now, without spoiling too much of the plot for the film, because if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? There is a fictional Renaissance painting called Boy with Apple, which is coveted by many of the characters in the film.
This is Van Hoytel's exquisite portrayal of a beautiful boy on the cusp of manhood. Blonde, smooth, skin as white as that milk, of impeccable provenance. One of the last in private hands, and unquestionably the best.
So I thought this would be the perfect name for a cocktail based on the Grand Budapest Hotel. There was actually quite a rare opportunity for me to be able to take a lot of ingredients for this cocktail and base them on aspects of the film. The film takes place in the fictional country of Zubrowka. So of course, what better ingredient to match with that than Zubrowka vodka liqueur, bison grass liqueur. Bit of a no-brainer for me and a fantastic starting point, frankly, as a sweetener and as a base alcohol. And of course, I wanted to incorporate apples somehow into this cocktail because, of course, it's called Boy with Apple. Put a sliced up apple in the shaker, and that's going to give us quite an interesting flavour paired with everything else that we've got going on here. And the main character of this film, not necessarily the narrator, but certainly a large part of the focus of the film, is M. Gustav, as played by Ralph Fiennes. We know that M. Gustav likes whiskey.
When the time comes, these will be yours, along with whatever we haven't already spent on whores and whiskey.
So, trying to incorporate that into the cocktail somehow, I came across this whiskey that I did have. Bushmills. It's an Irish whiskey, and the character of Agatha is Irish, or she at the very least has an Irish accent. This is an Irish whiskey, and one thing quite interesting about it, to me at least, it sort of tastes like apples. So being the Boy with Apple cocktail, this was ideal. This was really ideal, and it works really, really well in this drink. And when I was looking for sweeteners for the cocktail, I found that honey was quite a common export in Eastern Europe. So I have made some honey syrup. Now, honey syrup is nothing more than a 1-to-1 mix of honey and water. And you probably ask, why would you do that? Why not just put honey right into the cocktail? Well, honey is quite hard to work with. It is quite thick. So when putting it in a jigger, it's not necessarily going to want to pour out. And when it comes into contact with cold, with ice, it's going to want to seize up and it will not mix into a cocktail that you're trying to make. So if you mix it with water first, it makes it pourable and it incorporates perfectly into cocktails. So that's why you necessarily want to make honey syrup. So without further ado, this is the recipe I've come up with for the boy with apple. This is going to be a cocktail which we want to shake. So the first thing we are going to want is half an ounce of our Zubrowka. We are going to need half an ounce of our honey syrup. Then what we're going to want to do is take an apple, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the cheeks off of it, and I'm going to put those into small slices, and we're going to put those in the shaker. And when we put the ice in, that should pretty much pulverize the apple and extract all the juices and flavor that we need. I don't think it'll be necessary to muddle the apple slices. We are going to need 1 ounce of lemon juice. And last but not least, we are going to need 2 ounces of our Bushmills whiskey. And now we need to shake this drink. Now to get the apple in there, properly pulverized, what I've done is I've got one of these big ice cubes from a silicone mold, which I happen to have. I'm going to put one of these in my shaker. That's just going to help break up and extract all the apple juice. And then I've just got some like normal sized ice cubes here, which I'm going to pop in there as well. And I'm going to shake. And now I'm going to take a rocks glass, put in there a big cube, and I'm going to fine strain the drink over it. And for garnish, I'm going to do a apple fan. And there we have a drink called the Boy with Apple. I'm really pleased with the way this turned out. I've been working on it for a couple days, but let's see how it tastes. Oh yeah, no, that's excellent. The way that apple pairs with a Bushmills Irish whiskey is absolutely fantastic. The Zubrowka really kind of comes through with this. It gives it a kind of grassy, sort of herbal aftertaste. It really sets this apart from any other kind of whiskey sour variations that you're probably used to. That grassiness, that herbalness connects with the apple that was in the shaker, and it gives it this really bright overtone, which of course is bolstered by the lemon, no doubt. And then on the back end, the sweetness of the honey pairs with that lemon. I mean, that's a pairing tale as old as time. Lemon and honey. And that, paired with the apples and the Bushmills, is absolutely perfect. This is a truly fantastic cocktail. I think it could maybe benefit from muddling the apple, for sure. I think maybe just hoping that your ice cubes pulverize it isn't maybe necessarily a good idea. This is an absolutely fantastic drink for an immensely more fantastic film. I mean, Wes Anderson, I think, is certainly, I think, a modern visionary, for sure. I think he takes the idea of cinema, and I think he just reinvents it to his own needs. I've not really seen filmmakers really go to the extent that Wes Anderson does to make the medium of film work for him. Thank you once again for tuning into In The Drink. I've been Joe, and I have had a whale of a time bringing this show to you. I really enjoy making this, and I really hope you've enjoyed watching them. If you have, please leave a like on the video, leave a comment. That actually really helps me out quite a lot, no matter what you comment. And please subscribe as well. If you've enjoyed these videos, then please tune in to my other ones next week. Cheers. Cheers.